This is On Hold with Lindiwe Ncongwane. Lindiwe Ncongwane. Lindiwe Ncongwane. On Hold with Lindiwe Ncongwane. Lindiwe Ncongwane. Lindiwe Ncongwane. On Hold with Lindiwe.
Following our conversation last week on damages and lobola, I was challenged to speak further and speak about the broken relationship that still exists between the Weds and the in-laws. So me not having been in that space for a while now, I needed more context from them to understand what still is the challenge. The reason for my confusion in terms of not understanding what was still the challenge is that in my mind, I'm thinking the current people who are in-laws right now are the same people who were makotis back then when it was still very ruthless and very in your face and brutal. That was a time where you knew actually where you stood with your in-laws, whether it was your squeezers or your mom-in-law. They did not hide it. You would know that in culture they would say that once you are newly married, you must stay at your in-laws for a week or two or a whole month. Just being there and doing your makoti duties. So those duties include cooking, cleaning the house, doing laundry for everybody in the house, whilst everybody's now chilling, watching TV, just using plates and leaving them in the sink for you to wash. You do all those makoti duties for a week or two or a whole month. And in that time, you have no doubt or no question in your mind whether you are being liked or not. It is clear. Some of the squeezers will even go to your husband's exes and go and be friends with them in front of you, just so you know who they prefer and that they don't prefer you, they prefer someone else over you. So it was clear, it was open. There was no questioning about where you stood. If they liked you, they would also let you know that they like you. And sometimes it's periodic. This week they like you, next week they don't, But at any point it was obvious and it was unbearable. And most of these parents saw themselves in difficult situations, difficult bullying families, that broke their families, that led them to go through divorces, that led their children to seeing them fight as parents and go through divorce and split and do all of those things. They saw it all. It was painful. Now I'm thinking, if you've been in that situation and now you have the responsibility of being an in-law to somebody else, why would you still make their life uncomfortable? So that was where I was. So when I spoke to the people, I understood that, all right, fine, times have changed. So that period of makoti duties and those type of rituals are no longer really very popular anymore. You do stay in your in-laws, but they also sometimes stay in the suburbs now. So there's electronic washing machines and whatever. So it's not really that hectic, and actually those practices are very rare now. So with things having changed, what is still existing as in the discomfort, as a pain point, or an area where people are saying, but we are struggling. So then in the conversation, I pick up that the in-laws now, what they decide they're going to do to avoid conflict is to just not get involved. So they don't want to be involved. They just want to stand aside because they don't understand what's going on. Hey, these kids, this generation is different. They like each other today, tomorrow they fight, tomorrow they go partying together. We can't keep up and we don't know what to do. So with that, they don't want to get themselves involved. So they avoid the situation and they avoid the conflict that will happen in there. Now, they just don't understand that avoidance is a form of conflict on its own. It's just now showing up differently. Another observation is that they also don't have the power to actually influence their children. I'll give you an example. So now the rule is that if I'm a makoti myself and I'm married, if I have a problem in my home or in my family or in my marriage, I must actually go and report it to my in-laws, especially if the problem is the husband. So now I'm not supposed to go to my parents or my mom and say I have a problem, because that will build resentment against the man who took me and said they will take care of me. So I must first go to the in-laws and say, I have a problem. My husband is behaving this way and that way, and we're not getting along, and I need intervention, or I need you guys to help me. So what now happens? Okay, what should happen is that they need to intervene, maybe call their son or whatever, and then try and speak to them and understand and help you resolve the issue. But what is happening nowadays is that the parents will call and say, hey, brother, your wife is here complaining about you, saying this and this and that. What's going on? Then the husband will be like, what did she say? She's mad, that one. There's no such. I didn't do anything. Leave it to me. I'll speak to her when I get home today. I don't even know why she's bothering you. And then they're like, okay. I speak to her, and that's it. It ends there. So they never follow up to come back and say, did he speak to you? Did you guys resolve the issue? How did it end? Can we understand what's going on? And then they leave it hanging. So as a makoti, I'm sitting there thinking, I don't even know whether they called the son. I don't even know whether they spoke to him. Nobody's checking up on me. I mean, why would I take my time to go to somebody else's parents and complain or give a concern if there was nothing into it? So with that, where is the courtesy and the help or the interest in my issue that would say to the parent, move from where you are and come to me and check on me and say, are you okay? Was it resolved? Did you guys speak? Are you able to speak on your own? Should we intervene or what? So things just end up between the child and the son, and the parents and the son, and that's it. And if you said, leave her to me, then they also don't want to get involved. So that avoidance is not really helping, because then as a makoti, I'm looking now at my parents, in-laws differently. And remember, guys, that this would happen repeatedly. So I will go and report once, and then there will be this type of a response, and then I leave it. Because I'm a newlywed, I'm still excited about the family, and I've got hope, and I want to build. I do it the second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time. So many times I do this, and still same response, no interest. People avoiding my issue, avoiding talking to me, avoid addressing my issue. At some point, I get to a point where I feel this thing is not working. And then that resentment then gets initiated, or I get built up against the in-laws. So I feel that they don't care for me, they don't like me, they don't love me. Why would they not care if I'm okay? Why would they not make sure that their son is treating me well, and all of that? And that relationship starts getting sour. So that avoidance is not helping. It also may look like some passive aggression somewhere there, to say, is it because you don't like me, you don't prefer me, So what I understand is that those dynamics are playing silently. So that's why now, even for me, I couldn't see the bullying in my face, because it no longer happens that way. Now it's happening silently, and it's happening in actions or in non-actions, actually. So that's what I got to understand as the conflict that still exists. Obviously, awareness is key. Being able to know what has gone wrong and what is happening wrong helps us to understand what to do right or what to fix. You cannot fix what you don't know. All right. So if we also don't know what was the issue or what's happening, we also can't move forward. I, for one, don't want to be in that space where I carry on that legacy of making people uncomfortable or not caring or not showing any love. It doesn't matter to who. Whether I'll get a sister-in-law one day, or whether I'll be a mother-in-law one day, or whatever the situation I'll be put in, I want to be an agent for change. I don't want to carry on legacies that do not make sense and that don't promote kindness or love or anything like that. So I'm not saying I'm perfect or that I will be perfect even after finding all of these things out. But what I'm saying is, at least with a little bit of awareness that I have, I'll be able to know if I'm getting offline or not. So that's the story. To those that gave me the challenge, I hope I have represented you correctly. And to everybody that is watching, please weigh in on this. We want healthy marriages. We want healthy families. We don't want a situation where your family destroys your family. Okay, and you don't want to choose between your current family and your old family. We don't want those things. So let's try and find out where we can make things right and correct ourselves or guide correctly. So yes, another week done. Thank you very much for watching again. Let's chat again next week.